Welcome again. Thanks for joining us. We are going to spend not more than 15 minutes together talking about carpet tiles, acoustics, and noise-related challenges that we are aware that you housing providers need to manage. We're doing some calculations to share actually potentially how many savings you could be achieving by looking after the sound, the acoustics of your properties for your customers. Before we jump into the detail of acoustics, I just wanted to highlight that at Uplyfted, we offer a service of installing carpet tiles, not carpets, but we believe that they are a great fit for purpose products. They are not only durable, quality, sustainable, and beautiful, but also they are modular, which means that especially during voids, you can install them while other works are being carried out. It will not delay the voids period, but also they are very, very handy for occupied and furnished properties because the installation can happen around residents and their belongings, as you can see in both these images. So now in terms of sound, noise, acoustics, we were looking into the Housing Ombudsman Spotlight on Noise report. Undoubtedly, you are aware of it. But for us, since we are wanting to be partners of housing providers, but we are not housing providers, we still learn a lot in how you think about these challenges. So the report highlighted how actually most noises complaints that you manage are not antisocial behavior or daily living noises, which means that you spend lots of time and money. And we hear that some landlords report staff morale in dealing with these challenges when actually these are noises that are daily noises. This is not necessarily something that may be able to be addressed with typical antisocial behavior interventions. And that's why we believe that flooring is an amazing solution to this challenge, which drives huge financial and well-being costs for you and your residents. So let me talk you through this slide and let's please think of noise absorption and noise transference. So we're going to get a bit technical now, yet we believe it's important to think of how the floor in your properties has a relevance in absorption and transference of noise. So the way to measure these two elements is around thinking about impact sound and sound absorption. Impact sound is about thinking of how the sound is going to be transmitted through different floors. So if you have a 3-flat property or you have a high rise, the floors between the levels between your residents, the floor is going to have a transmission effect. Now, when we measure the transmission of sound, we are looking at decibels, and we want to reduce as much those decibels as possible. So if you provide your housing to a resident in a new let, for instance, and they have concrete floors, then we're going to have the concrete floor has a decibel impact sound transmission of 76 decibels. Now, if you install our carpet tiles, you're going to achieve a reduction of decibels between 22 and 37. When we think of sound absorption, this is about the airborne sound like voices. So this is typical sounds that in a family home, you'll have a lot of those. Now, in order to measure sound absorption and comparing the traditional floor that you have in your properties with concrete, you measure that with a ratio. And the concrete has a sound absorption ability of a ratio between 0.1 and 0.2. And carpet tiles will have an absorption of sound measuring a ratio between 0.15 and 0.35. So if we take a step back and we think, what are the noise challenges that we have between neighbors, and what is the type of flooring that we have, and how we can measure the difference? Concrete will have much more transmission of sound between different neighbors in different levels, between the ground floor and the first floor, etc. But also, what is the sound that your residents are hearing within their property, within their home? So we measure noise absorption and noise transference. And clearly, carpet tiles will have a huge benefit versus the concrete that you find today in your properties. Now, in terms of savings, there's also a huge opportunity to talk about cost reductions when we're talking about noise management, managing noise complaints, and flooring. Our supply and feed cost of an average 2-bedroom property is £650, which means that we will come to a property that's either occupied or at void period, and we will install. It's an average 2-bedroom property. Obviously, measures and conditions may change, but roughly that would cost you £650. Now, dealing with a complaint in relation to noise, it's a very onerous one. If we look about how many hours you dedicate in solving that complaint, how much there's a cost per hour in those complaints, that will be costing you more than £2,600. Now, if you install flooring, there's a potential saving of more than £1,900. We have the sources for this information. So these are calculations that are based on the Housing Ombudsman report as well, the estimating of noise complaints from DEFRA, and an estimation of an hourly cost of handling those complaints. Surely you may have your ability to build your own estimation, but we just wanted to put the highlight on the opportunity of saving almost £2,000 by installing flooring and investing in that installation in your properties on behalf of your customers. So we love to invite you to think about these, which is, what are the actions that you can take from your role and your organization to start providing flooring as part of your home standard? Undoubtedly, it's a complex challenge, but what are the actions that you can start taking? And how, hopefully, thinking about the savings in noise complaint management, how that can help in the business case of installing flooring in your properties. Now, if I may invite you also and remind you that we are having these 15 minutes sessions all Thursdays in August. Next week, we're going to be talking about the very, very low carbon footprint of our carpet tiles and how they contribute to a smaller embodied carbon of your house and stock. Excuse me. And on the 31st, we're going to be talking about heat retention. We're not that far from winter, and carpet tiles versus a concrete floor, we have a benefit on heat retention, reducing energy bills of your customers. But I'd love now to hear any thoughts or initial reactions or questions that you may have for us on the noise-related topics that we discussed today. Any initial thoughts or reactions on these? How does it sound?
Well, obviously, it's really, really frustrating when you're trying to support families where you can see, even though it is daily living noise, it is still having quite a significant impact on both parties. So it is nice for us to be able to start looking at different solutions rather than just the standard, I'm sorry, it's daily living noise, we're done with this conversation. What relationships have you built with other social landlords? Do you have like we work with you and we do it in every single property when it becomes void, or do you have more of ad hoc, or do you have both types of relationships?
We have both types of relationships, Amanda. We have worked with landlords where they've identified occupied properties where neighbors are having challenges in relation to noise, and we have come and installed in those, but we have also installed during the void period.
Okay.
So
Okay.
we have worked, for instance, with Raven Housing Trust in a specific noise-related challenge. We have worked with Bromford in both occupied and empty properties, as well as with CCHT. We worked in occupied properties. We are installing tomorrow in Eastlight community homes into empty properties. So we can work around those two moments in your customer journey.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Thank you for this. I appreciate the time, and I think it's something we're very aware in housing that carpet can help with noise, and that carpet can help with a lot of things. So I think it'd be nice. I know there's only 1 minute left, but I might try to get a meeting with you both to kind of talk about carpet tiles specifically, and what's the difference between a carpet and carpet tiles. I guess that's where probably your sales pitch will be, but to kind of get a better understanding about what that's about, and why you think it's the better option, basically, if that's all right.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope you have a lovely rest of the day, lovely lunch, and I really look forward to seeing you soon again.
Thank you
very much.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.